You're listening to Flower City Sports on 89.1 The Point. Now your hosts, Liam Hoffmann and Aiden Locke.
Hello and welcome back to the Flower City Sports Podcast on 89.1 The Point. I'm Liam Hoffmann. Seated next to me is Aiden Locke. Aiden, how are we doing?
It's a good day. It's Thursday. It's time for some Flower City sports.
Yeah, it's been a very, very busy week for the Rochester Americans. Friday, 6 days ago, after we released the last episode, a slurry of trades made by Buffalo Sabres general manager Kevin Adams has changed the look of this Amerks, as well as obviously the Sabres team, a little bit. And then since then, 4 games have been played, a really, really nice 3-1 stretch that the Amerks have gone on. So Aiden, let's just get it started. Talk about that first trade that was broken last Friday.
So I believe the first one that came through was the Locke Pozo trade to Carolina. The Sabres trade their captain of, I believe this was his second year wearing the C, for a 7th-round pick and an AHL defenseman who we're going to talk a little bit about a little bit later in the show. So
he's going to talk a little bit later in the show as well.
Yeah. So moving on, Erik Johnson was sent to the Philadelphia Flyers for a 2024 4th-round pick. And then to wrap it up, the trade that affects, no, it doesn't affect, Rochester the most because of all the other movement that's happened after. But Devin Cooley traded to San Jose for a 2025 7th-rounder. So outside of the Middlestat deal, nothing too crazy. And, we were both kind of, wondering how it's going to go with Bowen Byram in Buffalo. And, man, he's got 3 goals in 3 games for the Sabres as of Thursday, March 14th at 4 o'clock just about. As the Sabres do play tonight, it's Pride Night at KeyBank Center. They will be taking on the New York Islanders. So it's just going to be fun to continue to monitor this Bowen Byram situation and how, he continues to mesh with this team because, being a goal-per-game player with Buffalo right now is surely impressive stuff. And, obviously a lot of movement followed that for, the Amerks as Ryan Johnson was sent down and he's going to be spending a extended stint in the American Hockey League. Lucas Rusek was called up to Buffalo. He's been up in Buffalo now for, about a week now. Riley Fiedler-Schultz back in Buffalo from Jacksonville, as well as...
In Rochester, he meant to say.
Yep, excuse me. Thank you for that catch. And then Oliver Nadeau was reassigned by Buffalo to Rochester from the Jacksonville Icemen of the ECHL. So, some more reinforcements on the wing for them, losing Rusek. And Cale Clegg also up the defenseman to Buffalo to kind of take Ryan Johnson's spot. They're going to let Ryan Johnson, instead of having him be scratched every night, it's going to be more Cale Clegg to be in and out in that Sabres lineup. And it's going to be more beneficial for Ryan Johnson to be down in Rochester, getting that playing time and such. And Noah Loronen is down in Jacksonville as well. So he was sent down, just not getting many minutes in Rochester.
Yeah, so, after all of those moves, the Amerks had to play a game that night, Friday, against the Syracuse Crunch. And so Aiden had the chance to go watch that one. So, Aiden, what were your thoughts? What was the story on Friday night's game?
Well, first of all, it was their first win against Syracuse in Blue Cross Arena all season long. And it was a 4-3 overtime win, and it was really just the most complete game I think I've seen this year, this Amerks team play, going toe-to-toe with this Crunch team all game long. Rochester won it in overtime off a Zach Metzek goal. Brett Murray scored the first 2 goals of the game for Rochester, one coming on the breakaway and another coming off of a power play opportunity where he got into those dirty areas he talks about and got a tap in home. Isak Rozan set up the overtime winner just by skating it in, using some of his deception. That's something that Zach Metzek talked about post-game in the press conference was Isak Rozan's very, very good at, some of that deceptive play, especially in the 3-on-3. So it was a big-time win for them to get their first at Blue Cross Arena against the Crunch.
And then Saturday, they hit the road in what's a pretty common pairing for the Amerks. They hit the road and played against Syracuse, but in the Crunches building, and the Amerks suffered a 4-2 loss in that one. Victor Neuchev continues his high offensive scoring that we've seen in 2024 with a pair of assists, those being to Michael Mersch and Brandon Byro, who picked up their 10th and 13th goals on the year, respectively. Zach Metza got an assist of his own, which got his point streak up to 4. He's a rookie who's found his way into the lineup and extended ice time more and more frequently, just developed as this year's gone on in his first year. Mason Jobst gets a assist as well. And with the busy weekend that the Amerks had, they went with Dustin Tokarski Saturday evening between 2 Devin Levi games. Tokarski saved 30 of 33 shots he faced, but in the end, it will go down as a loss for Tokarski and for the Amerks.
Yeah, and then on Sunday, they're only 3-3 over a weekend span this season. It was a 3-2 win over the Utica Comets, a 4:05 start, so a little bit earlier than that 7 o'clock start that the Amerks do so often. You were at that game, so why don't you tell us the story of that one?
It was a big win for the Amerks. Before I get into any of my story, we are going to let you hear from the people that were involved themselves. Up first, the press conference that Amerks head coach Seth Appert had after that win on Sunday.
Yeah, I thought we were excellent in the first. We were poor in the second. I thought we were pretty good in the third. They got some chances. Most of what they got in the third was from the perimeter, with us doing a good job boxing out on rebounds, and obviously Devin was very good. So I thought we had good spirit about us in the third period. A lot of life on the bench. We're down to 10 forwards. Every healthy body is in the lineup. And, just how many guys blocked big shots. Like, Victor Neuchev's a young, skilled forward, scored a heck of a goal today. But what an amazing block shot he had. Like, total sellout block shot in the last 10 minutes of that game. And then, you got two of your youngest skill guys out there defensively helping try to close the game out with Cooley and Rosie, and that's a real credit to those guys that they keep earning more opportunity on both sides of the puck.
With Rosie in particular, is he playing with the same confidence he had at the beginning of the season now?
I think that offensively, they created a ton tonight. Yeah, Cooley probably could have had 4 goals tonight. Cooley hit a crossbar last night. Those guys are creating a lot right now. Not as much has gone in lately, and that's part of it. And part of it is it tightens up this time of the year. Part of it is they have attention on them that last year some of that attention was maybe on other guys because they were rookies and they were young and maybe still surprising people. And it's hard. And I think that Rosie's overall game, both of their overall game is better than it's ever been. They're playing great team defense. They're playing hard. They're playing physical. Roseanne is playing excellent in the penalty kill. And I don't worry about their offense because we know how good offensively they are and they can continue to become.
We've seen a few situations over the last couple of weeks where the Amerks have a 1-goal lead late and the other team comes back to tie it. How important was it, especially against a divisional opponent, to hold on to this one in regulation?
Yeah, this time of the year, the standings are tight. What a division we play in. And Vinny and Pacer, even though Pacer's been in our organization, you're not living it every day when you're in player development. And as I said to him a couple times over the last 10 games, I'm like, welcome to the North. Where one good week and you're in third and one bad week you're in seventh, and that's just the quality of the division. It's challenging, and at times it's really demanding, but it also makes you better individually and collectively. To not give a point up to a team chasing you, to get 2 points is huge, but to not give up one by getting overtime on a team that's behind you is critical.
You want to win well, obviously, but you got to be satisfied getting 4 out of 6 and 3-3, right?
Yeah, 4 to 6, 3-3 with the heaviness in how old and physical both these teams are, and with us having a pretty beat up lineup. Yes, 100%. And not only did we weren't great last night, but it's 2-2 with halfway through the third period. We did a really good job last night giving ourselves a chance to win a tough road game. So we won 2. We gave ourselves a great chance to win the third. At this time of the year, you're going to take that all day.
Yeah, I think I counted there was 15 guys who played all 3. Would you consider that unusual that you had to go that many guys to play all 3?
Well, I think I would like to have rotated more. We just don't have it right now. And we explored, some of it has happened through the week. We explored trying to get some guys up from Jacksonville yesterday, but the flights, and it just wasn't going to work for them to get in last night, and then the time today to get them here just wouldn't have made any sense. Obviously, Charlene just got in town yesterday, and obviously he's inserted into the lineup, so did a really good job, got an assist on the power play with a really good delivery to Murray there.
Where'd you see it?
I thought when he had the puck on a stick moving north on the offensive blue line, I think he looks really good. The puck looks natural to him. He's good sized. I thought he did a good job. It's a hard situation to walk into. You get traded. The only guy on the team he knows is Isak Rozan because they played in Lexons together. He hasn't had any practice. We go over a little bit of chalk talk and video with him about our systems. They play man-on-man in Charlotte, and they pinch all the time. And we play zone, and we surf instead of pinch. Those are big adjustments for a defenseman. And I thought he did a really good job.
He hadn't played in a while either, right?
Yeah, because he's been battling an injury. So I think it was January 27th, maybe, is his last game. Yeah, I think so. So I know he was just working through an injury, and he had a week of practice in Charlotte before the trade, and he was cleared to play. But yes, it's been a long time since he's been in the lineup through that injury.
Go ahead. You had just talked about Kulik and Rosen. Their defensive play, Kulik, second period ties up Willman in the slot. It's going to be a great chance. Third period ties up Criscolo, I think.
Some pretty darn
really
good players.
late.
And guys that are elite players, probably 30-year-old men that have both played in the NHL. That's not easy assignments. That's the funny thing about the American League. The prospects get a lot of the talk. But like you're a 19-year-old kid trying to play center in the second best league in the world, and you're going against, guys like Dumont and Syracuse and Criscolo and Schmelzer and those type Willman and those types of guys. It's a big ask. And I think he's, and with some of the injuries we have, that line got the hardest assignment all 3 games. They had Barboulay, both Syracuse games, and they had Criscolo tonight. Those are not easy tasks, and they did a really good job and helped us win 2 games.
Ryan Johnson had a couple tough moments, especially on the first goal there. But overall, what is he going to be able to bring to you guys being down in Buffalo?
Well, I think what you saw is and when at his best, he's a breakout machine. He's really good at breaking the puck out, using his feet, moving the puck north. And then I thought in the offensive zone, him and Zach Metza had really good chemistry, working the offensive zone together, interchanging, being active. Those are plays, the goal against, that he needs to get out of his game. That is something that has been a struggle. It was a struggle at times in college and here and a little bit in Buffalo. And it's the casual turnover. That's a young defenseman's turnover. And also the time of the game. And it's 3-3. You're up 2-0. You don't need to give your opponent life. Make them earn their life. Don't give them life. And those are things that all young defensemen have to grow through.
Charlene comes in, not playing in a while, but it feels like he was really, really physical by the boards particularly. What was your assessment of that?
I liked Charlene. I mean, I'll have to go back and watch video. And now you have a game with him, and then we'll get a practice with him on Tuesday. And Pazier will get a chance to sit down with him and you get a better feel for where he's at and the questions he has. But I thought he did a really good job for the situation, especially.
Warren's injury.
I don't have a report on that. Obviously, you hate to see that. The second time it's happened to him this year where he's got hit hard with a puck. I'm hoping it's I don't know. You never it seems crazy to say I hope it's just his teeth. But considering what he went through earlier in the year, I hope it's just his teeth.
Charlene gets the assist really, really early. What's that do, particularly just for him finding a role on this team?
You know what? It just makes you feel part of it. I think that's been a bit of a challenge at times for us this year is delivering pucks from the top on the power play consistently to get our 2 best power play players, even though Cooley and Rosie and Beersy and all these guys get the accolades. Mersch and Murray are our 2 most elite power play players. They're probably 2 of the best, if not the 2 best in the American Hockey League at the front of the net. We need to get more pucks to them, and he did a really good job getting that in there to him tonight.
Welcome back into the studio. Up next, we have Callie Jolene after the game.
First, yeah, I didn't expect that, and get the opportunity in power play too. I haven't played power play so latest I played power play was back home in Sweden, so it was fun to get that opportunity, and just build from there.
What tough is it not been at play since late January for Atlanta?
Yeah, it's been tough. Back in Charlotte, like they had a lot of these, and I've struggled a little bit with an injury here the last time. So it's always been tough. Like body feels good, but like mentally it's kind of tougher when you don't play and you see all the games and you want to play. But grateful for this opportunity and get a new chance here.
Did you start to wonder where you fit into the organization there?
Yeah, a little bit. Obviously, they had a lot of these, but like I try not to think too much about it. I just try to do my best when I got the opportunity and do what I can do to be like the best version of myself. And then when the opportunity comes, I just try to be as good as possible.
Were you surprised that you were included in the trade?
What's that?
Did it come as a surprise that you got included in the trade?
Yeah, a little bit. Didn't expect it, but I was glad it happened because I felt kind of didn't get the opportunity because we had a lot of these, like I said, and I'm glad this came up and it worked out, and I'm grateful to be here.
What is the best version of yourself? One?
Feels like when you have that confidence on the ice and you just almost like you don't think that much, everything just comes to you, and everything just rolling on, and I feel when I am in that mode, I'm like a steady defenseman, can join the rush, I can play offense, but I always try to take defense first and then join the rush and chance comes.
You currently don't know one really, but Rosé?
Yeah, he's probably the only guy I know here, and it's kind of funny. I've known him for like 5-6 years. We played together back home in Leksand, and we have the same agent, so we were good buddies. So it's fun to see him again and be around him every day now.
Did you ask a little advice or what to expect, or?
Yeah, of course. As soon as I get done, he texted me right away, so I gave him a call and just asked just the normal questions, just how it is, how's the guys in the team, and they have been really good to me since I came in yesterday. So, and they were on the game in Syracuse, so I haven't met everyone till like this morning, but they've been great. Seems like a great group of guys.
After that first goal that Utica scored, it was a tough, weird one to give up. But what did you think about the team's response after that?
I think we played good. Obviously, we were really good in the first period, but it's still like they play 3-on-3 here, so it's kind of tough to play those games. But I think we played solid. Like we did what we were supposed to do, and like I said, we were flying in the first period, and then we let down a little bit. But I still think we had control of the game.
And lastly, we have Isak Rosén, who was the only Amerk really on the roster that Callie Jolene had a former relationship with. The pair played a couple years of hockey together in Sweden. So lastly, hear from Isak Rosén and his views on the game and Jolene's arrival.
Whereas we were talking with Apps about just how much your game has become well-rounded, how confident do you feel just with the puck helping out?
Yeah, really confident. I mean, just nice to feel that from Apps too. He trusts me in every situation, PK, power play, D-zone, face-offs and all that. So just when you get that trust too, you want to do something good with it, and I think I've done that, so it's fun, of course.
When it comes to doing that, like blocking shots, getting sticks and shooting wins, PK, I mean, are these all things you think will help your development to get you back to the NHL?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the kind of things that if you do those good, it's easier to gain trust from a coach, and that will obviously get you more playing time and all that. So I think it's just good to be good at those things too. To I guess expand my my game. So I can play more.
You've started to get some points again these last couple of weeks here. Is your confidence back from the offensive side?
Yeah, for sure. I think today we should have scored at least one in our line too. We had a lot of good chances, but it was great. We scored on that only power play we got. We've been talking about special teams now, when it's getting tight in the standings and not a lot of games left. It's so important with special team, and it's great that we get that goal today, so it's good.
When you look at how tight these standings are, talking with Apps, in the last couple of weeks there's been games where the Amerks have had leads late and the other team has scored in forced overtime. How big was it today to make sure that you won this in regulation? Yeah, of course it's great, especially too when the other team gets a point if it goes to overtime. So I mean, it's great we can hold on today and just bring that to next game too. Yeah.
How much of a challenge is it to be out there and stuff? Once Aiden, Syracuse, and tonight the Scolo's line. I mean, that obviously says we trust you guys a lot.
Yeah. You know what? I like. It's you don't think that much of it. It's just trying to be on the right side, and they want to play offense too. So if we can get turnovers and do that, we can go on offense, and I think that's what we've been doing good this weekend, our line. So.
What can you tell us about Kelly? We don't know what.
Yeah. No. No, he's a great guy. Obviously, played with him. I think 3 years in Sweden, and a great friend of mine, and he's really good to. Yeah, we saw that on the power play today. He getting shots through to the goal. He's really good at that, changing the angle and get him through, and then really good skater and. Good at moving the puck, so I think a great first game for him, it's just going to be better.
Right, so what did you tell them about it? I guess you texted right from Detroit.
Yeah.
He called
you? Yeah. He called me right away, and both were obviously super happy. He haven't been playing much in Charlotte this year, so it was great for him to get a new opportunity, and I'm so happy to have him here, of course.
Running the Warren, this goal, how'd that excite you or impress you, and then just what's the ways of the line to bring to the team goal?
Great goal, of course. Great shot, and then I think he just brings it every night. Physical play, so hard to play against, the speed and.
And welcome back into the studio. Liam, what did you see on Sunday night against the Utica Comets?
So Victor Neuchev, who I just talked about prior to those press conference segments, got the Amerks on the board first. Brandon Byro hit him with a just perfect feed that allowed Neutsch to put the Amerks up early. And then Kalle Jalin picks up his first assist points as an Amerk. First game he played in a couple of months. He was dealing with an injury and now breaking into the AHL. Gets his first assist of the year. He took a shot. Brett Murray was able to rebound and redirect that one in to get the Amerks out to a familiar 2-0 lead, something we feel like we've seen quite a bit. And so onward, the Amerks had a lot of momentum going their way, but in the second, the Comets offense really just ramped up the shooting and the possession time. 20 shots on goal in the second versus just 4. Or 20 shots on goal by Utica versus just 4 for the Amerks in that Sunday game. Devin Levi, though, played a good game overall. Like I said, allowed those two goals in the second, but overall had a big game. 2 penalty kills on the evening for the Amerks was really huge en route to the win, and they also were able to score on their only power play, which is a bright spot. Absolutely. Isak Rosén, you heard him talk about it after the game. It's huge for as the season ramps to, the nearing its end. The playoffs are coming. The Amerks absolutely need to iron out the kinks with that power play if they want to really be a threat to some of the top teams in the AHL. And then Brendan Warren got the go-ahead and ultimate game-winning goal late in the second, where Mason Jobst and Justin Richards got a lot of ice time this past weekend, more than we've grown accustomed to seeing. It wasn't just face-offs for him, so interesting for the defenseman there. But like I said, Brendan Warren gets the go-ahead goal, exits with an injury shortly after, and we did not receive any update after the game, as you heard Seth Appert mention. But all in all, the Amerks close out their 3-3 with 2 wins, 4 points. Don't allow Utica to get to overtime in that Sunday game, keeping the points away from them. Really, really productive stuff for this Rochester group.
Yeah, and as we transition, the Amerks played last night against the Syracuse Crunch. It was a 3-2 win back in their barn, so avenging that game on Saturday, which they lost 4-2. They won this one 3-2. Kind of the biggest story I'm seeing from this one is a 3-assist night from Mason Jobst being involved on all 3 goals. And man, oh man, with Rusick gone, if he's going to step up and be productive like that night in, night out, it's going to be good stuff for Rochester. Levi with the start, got a 16th start in the last 19 games since January 20th, and he's held opposition to 3 or fewer in 14 of his 18 starts and boasts a 10-1-3 record this season in those games. And yeah, he's been super impressive. We've already had our long discussion about him, but he has been a critical piece. And if they're going to continue to win some of these games that they've been winning lately, it's good to see him playing well, and then guys like Jobst step up as well. And Brett Murray stepped up big time in the overtime win against Syracuse on Friday night. So coming up, they are going to see a lot of Toronto. They play Toronto 3 times in the next 4 games, and really they're getting some spacing between these matchups now. They have 2 games this weekend against Toronto, one in Rochester on Friday, and then on the road on Saturday. And then they get to, a couple days off, play Wednesday, then play Friday, and then play the following Sunday, where we're going to see the schedule really start to pace out a little bit.
Yeah, more on Mason Jobst. With the 3-assist night he had last night, that's his 2nd of the year. He moves into first place in points on this team. He's got 40, 16 goals, and 24 assists, which is good tied for 2nd on the team in goals behind Yuri Kulich, which it's just wild that Yuri still sits in number 1 in that spot, given the quiet,
Just given how good his start was and how quiet he's been lately, basically since he came back from the World Juniors, he's been non-existent on the goal sheet. Just 1 goal in the past, really, 3 months.
Yeah, true. And then Jobst is also tied for 2nd on the team in assists, trailing only Lucas Rusek. But Rusek in Buffalo now, no signs that he's got any return to Rochester impending. So, sure enough, if Jobst keeps up the play he's had as of late, no surprise. There'd be no surprise if he passes both of those guys in points. And so I've been saying for a couple of weeks now that Mason Jobst is maybe the best, at least right now, most productive offensive piece on the Amerks, and he's just kept that up. He hasn't slowed down at all. Also, in that game last night, Shaleen scores his first Amerks goal of his career on the power play. He talked about in the audio that you heard the fact that he hasn't played on a power play unit since his time in Sweden, and he was really excited to get to be a part of that. And he had an assist on the power play Sunday afternoon and then scores his first goal on it last night. What he's bringing to the table in that department could wind up paying dividends for this Rochester group.
So I kind of want to jump back to Mason Jobst real quick. He played 61 games for Rochester last year, had 38 points, and was a -3. He's already eclipsed his point total from a year ago in just 49 games. He's got 40 points. But he's a -7. But I don't want to look as much into that plus-minus because of just the way this team has been this year and how much change. He's been one of the only real constants in the lineup, unless outside of a game here and a game there where he's banged up. And he's having a really productive 3rd year in Rochester. He split the 21-22 regular season with Rochester and San Jose, where Devin Cooley just got sent off to. So I'm sure Mason Osh probably told Cooley a thing or two about that organization while he was before he left and hopped on a flight to San Jose. So it's big that Mason Osh is really starting to become a driver for this team. The timing of it really couldn't be much better. And if this, like I said earlier, they need guys like that to continue to play well and step up if they're going to continue to win some of these tough games that are coming up, as it's going to be nonstop North Division hockey basically here on out. And, right now they're sitting pretty, third place in the North Division. Let's kind of take that with a grain of salt.
That could change tomorrow.
There's 3 points between third and fifth, and those three teams are Rochester, Belleville, and Toronto, listed at 3 to 5 there. As Rochester 64 points, Belleville 63, Toronto 61, and then you're only another point further down from Laval. So they got some work to do if they're going to catch Syracuse or Cleveland, who are sitting there with 74 and 72 points respectively. But everyone has a game in hand in the North Division on Cleveland and Laval. Utica having 2 games in hand over Cleveland and Laval. So a lot to really keep an eye on here and how this is going to play out, how the seeding is going to balance. Utica really on the outside looking in right now is that 4-point gap to Laval. As the days go by, it just looks bigger and bigger and bigger of a gap. And kind of looking big picture in the league here, I just want to point out the Hershey Bears are the first team to clinch a playoff spot in the American Hockey League, which just shows how much of a wagon that team is, as they've only played 57 games and have locked up a playoff spot with 88 points, 42-11, 0-4 for them. And the 4 extra time losses are shootouts they're yet to lose in just a 3-on-3 overtime.
Yeah, absolutely. Hershey is rolling right now. The Amerks have only saw them twice this year, but if these playoffs go anything like last year's did, they will be seeing a bit more of them before the season comes to a close.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really tight hockey down the stretch throughout, the North Division. Even the Atlantic Division is pretty close outside of, Bridgeport is 10 points off of everybody else. And, we had mentioned that Milwaukee Admirals win streak, which has since ended from last week, and they're on a 2-game losing streak. There's no real crazy hot, win streaks outside of Coachella Valley, who's 7-0-1-1, but nothing like those double-digit win streaks we've been seeing out of Hershey and Milwaukee. So, yeah, it's going to be tough for Rochester to close that gap to Syracuse and Cleveland, just because, Cleveland in their last time are 6-3-1, and Syracuse, that is, and then Cleveland 5-3-1-1 in their last 10 as well. So these are teams that are winning, 5-6 games out of every 10, and Rochester still with a 4-4-1-1 last 10. So again, they're just kind of, they'll win a game, lose a game, win a game, lose a game. But if they're going to, compete for this division, they got to shake that. And yeah, I don't have too much else to say. The only consistent thing about this Rochester team this season is how inconsistent they've been.
Which, hopefully, down the stretch here, we can bite our words come couple weeks or a month time.
It does bring some genuine concern come playoff time, because this team is really yet to get super hot and, go on like a 5-6 game win streak. And the one thing we learned about this team last year is that if they do get down in a series, that they're not going to lay down and die, because they got down in their first 2 series against Toronto and Syracuse, and they came back and won both series. So, yeah, once we get a little bit closer to playoff time and stuff starts to look more secure, we dive into that bracket, really break down
potential
series,
opponents.
Yeah, because the series lengths change. They're interchangeable depending on how far you advance. And, some other news outside of the hockey world is it's almost baseball season. We're going to be talking Red Wings here more and more as we get closer to the start of April. The first round of cuts have been made by the Washington Nationals. We're not going to dive into that today, but next week we might start looking a little bit more into what this Red Wings roster could look like, and, some guys who are already there getting ready for the AAA season. So, do you have any other big talking points to hit on today, kind of wrapping up the deadline and a busy weekend of hockey for the Amerks?
Yeah, I think one of the silver linings that I see is that the Amerks, and not that this is at the forefront of anybody's mind, but the trade deadline is passed. The roster is not set, but, you would be surprised to see a brand new face walk in the door at this point of the season. So head coach Seth Apper and assistants know what they're working with, and they're playing well this last week. So really just gotta, if you're a Rochester, you gotta keep the ball rolling. And if you're the Red Wings, like Aiden said, the first pitch of the year is coming real soon.
Yeah, and I think getting Ryan Johnson's going to be big for that D-core, just to kind of get a fresher face in there. He was playing well in Rochester, those first 7 games of the year when he was hanging out in Rochester. I believe it was 7 games he played with the Amerks. Obviously, Devin Levi's been spectacular. They have that ace, that stud goalie that they can ride for the rest of the year. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of Levi, not so much Tokarski. Maybe he gets in. I mean, he's just going to be a relief pitcher, Dustin Tokarski, at this point, because it was an exciting name when they brought him in, but he has not been playing all that well this year. He hasn't been a big reason for why they lose most nights when he was, the number one. But it's also just, you can look at his statistics, see that it's not going all that well, and
it's been rare that you walk out of an Amerks win and put it on the back of Dustin Tokarski, but there have been some losses where the finger might be pointed that direction.
Yeah, so to back up what I'm saying, he's got a 3.31 goals against he's under 90 save percentage at .893. With Devin Levi in 18 games, he's got a 2.49 goals against average and a .926 save percentage. So he's just been better night in, night out, and it's going to be really important for number one Levi to stay healthy and for him to continue playing at the way he's playing. Amy is an assist, which that's just awesome when goalies get points.
That's right. With all that being said, that is all for us today. I've been Liam Hoffman with my partner Aiden Locke. You've been listening to Flower City Sports on 89.1 The Point.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Flower City Sports. To listen to this or any other episodes, check out our Spotify at 89.1 The Point. And tune in next Thursday for Flower City Sports.